Hello everyone, welcome to Timeless Flux. My name is Sabine. If you're new to this channel, welcome. If you're not coming for the first time, welcome back. Today we're going to have a reading on how to deal with loss. And this reading has been long overdue, but since we're living such a world crisis, I've focused on, for the past couple of weeks, just trying on with some live videos. And I also had to reorganize myself and reorganize my energies in order to be able to come back and do these readings for you. This reading is about all kinds of losses. It is not only about material loss in any way, shape, or form you might conceive it, but it's also talking about whatever you feel in emotional, psychic terms that you've lost, energetically speaking, but also in terms of belief, anything that you might be dealing with through grief. We are having a reading that might be adequate for this moment we're living in the world. We're talking about having to deal with the change in circumstances all around us. It's like the floor is dematerializing from right under our feet. So this feeling of loss that could be highly productive, but also quite scary. Even if you're at the very first stage of denial, this video is bringing messages for you, right? Of course, remember these are general readings, so these messages are meant to specific people that for any kind of synchronicity or serendipity come across this video and find that the message resonates with them. So if you start watching any of the options and you end up feeling that they do not resonate with you, the message is not for you, please self-reference, believe in yourself, know that the message is not for you, because this video is going to be watched by many people, okay? Many different people. So it is very important for you to take what resonates and leave the rest, okay? So we have three options here today. For option one, we have this beautiful tourmalines. For option number two, we have the red jasper, okay? And for option number three, we have the pyrite. Okay? Option number one, option number two, option number three. Please select your option. And while you're selecting, I'm going to share with you a general message that just came out as I was shuffling the decks for this reading. These are all pre-shuffled. I don't know which cards they are going to present to us, but three cards stood out from Osho's deck, bringing a message to anyone and everyone that might be of interest. So if you're not interested in this part and you have already selected your option, just skip it and go straight to your reading. But the general message goes, a lot of us right now are dealing with an enormous burden. The card I've got was the burden card from Osho's tarot, and of course this burden might be referring in general to the whole COVID situation and the social isolation we're experiencing right now, but it is also referring to specific burdens in our lives. These burdens are making it hard for us to focus on our passions, to make decisions. So I got the lovers inverted. And also it's making it very hard for us to focus on organizing. The message goes, it's normal that we're feeling this way, but it is important for us to try to make an effort. And if we cannot control the results from this pandemic, because we of course cannot, at least we can control a process of cleaning in our own lives, what's serving us and what's no longer serving us. The COVID pandemic situation is a huge burden, but it's also a reminder that we have self-imposed burdens in our lives. And maybe due to social isolation, or maybe due to the fact that some of us, as we know, all over the world are being forced to work even if we are not into the essential services. If you are one of the people in this situation, just remember that no matter the situation in which you are, it is important not to make your life more complicated than it already is. This message, of course, goes for after this after this period of social isolation ends, but it is especially relevant now because it's like the pandemic, the whole COVID situation is a reminder, a huge reminder that, okay, this is out of our control, but there are many other things that are actually under our control and that we know are burdens in our lives and that we procrastinate on and on, knowing that they're not good for us, knowing that they do not have a positive effect, and still we keep them in our lives when we know they are under control. So this was a message on what can you do right now to make your life easier in the sense of healthier, both mentally, emotionally, and spiritually healthier. Okay, it's not the same discourse on productivity that's going around, that we need to focus on being productive, on doing all of those courses we hadn't had the time to do before, performing for lives every day. Or okay, if this is your thing, that's okay, but the thing is not to push too hard just because you have time. If you are one of the people who are actually in the condition of having time, because many of us in this world are not having extra time, are not allowed social isolation, not only because we are going against the benefits of social isolation, because we're denying the importance of social isolation, but because we may be forced, simply forced to keep to our work, because we know otherwise we could lose our jobs, we don't have benefits as many other people have. Anyway, there are many tragic conditions out there, people exposing themselves to danger even if they are not a part of what we call essential services, okay, because they're afraid of losing their main source of income. So the reminder is, okay, it's not fair, it's not under our control, but at least we can remind ourselves not to make our lives harder than they already are. And of course, this message stands for more than this period of social isolation, but it is important, especially now, that you remember some burdens in your life are of your own making. It's not a matter of guilt, it's just a matter of how to clean them up. The refrigerator you never want to clean because you know it's going to get messy and you don't have time and you have other priorities. You are going to have serious problems because it's going to get nastier and nastier. Check out those areas in your life. You don't need the extra weight, you don't need the extra burdens. And this message just came out screaming and calling to me to be said, okay, as one of the most important things now. No matter what your situation is, I repeat that because this is very important. There are a lot of people talking about the situation right now as if all of us could actually be socially isolated, and there are many other different scenarios. Not everybody that's on the street is there because they're denying the importance of social isolation. A lot of people are there because they are being forced to be there. There are other situations that are out of their control, not only the situation of the virus, okay? And if you're here listening to this video, you know what I'm talking about, and you know that these situations are pre-virus and they're very hard to solve, okay? So maybe this is not a very popular opinion, but it's not an opinion, it's actually a fact. And people are not talking about this enough. No, remember, you do not have to make your life any harder than it already is. Try to deal with those things that are burden and that are long overdue. You know what I'm talking about. You will know what I'm talking about for each of you, okay? So let's move on to the reading of those of you who've selected pile number 1. Hello there, my pile number 1s. If you've chosen this beautiful tourmaline, I'm going to leave it here. Okay, I'm going to do reversals with the tarot cards, but not with the oracle cards. And I'm going to start with your 2 oracle cards that are going to give a general overview on the feelings, the mood surrounding this situation, and the little narrative going on in the tarot cards. So what I can see here is that the loss or losses that you're dealing with are related to the truth, because I have Joan of Arc here, and she says, she's the voice of truth, and she says, stand strong, focus on your purpose, release the fear of persecution, and speak your truth. So this is actually interesting, because I was discussing this with a friend online on Facebook yesterday, how some people are feeling that in this particular moment in time, it feels like very hard to simply say what you believe. That like a couple of years ago, you could even come up with a polemic opinion on any issue, but people would still listen to you more. They would still there's a radicalization on opinions nowadays that makes it harder for people to listen to each other, and of course, obviously, as a consequence, for us to feel that we're free to speak whatever we feel like, there's a loss of freedom. And I'm not talking about those situations in which you think, okay, now Black people are fighting for their rights and gay people are fighting for their rights, the LGBTQ population, so I can't talk about things that they don't want me to talk about. I'm not talking about this kind of prejudice. I'm talking about having an angle on a situation, or talking about something based on your experience and maybe feeling a bit censored, because opinions are radicalizing a lot more. So this is the kind of situation I see for you here, but of course, make it fit whatever you're living right now, because I feel that for most of you, this is not about the general vibe in the world. I just wanted to contextualize it so that you know that you're not alone. Whatever you're facing, this is kind of a universal process of polarization that you're obviously feeling, or maybe you even consciously observing, okay? But for you, I feel that the loss you're dealing with is intimately related to not being able to speak your truth or to voice your truth, okay? And this would be something very important for you to start doing, because the next card I have here is take time to breathe out. Let me see if I can. Oh yeah, take time to breathe out. Okay, so this is disseminating moon. So of course, it's also telling you that it's okay to be feeling this way, and to take any time you think it's necessary for you to just moving a little bit for you to see better, for you to better organize your thoughts and see what is it that you're actually wanting to say. But from the story here, I see that you will come to the point of saying it, no matter how fearful you feel right now, and that it is important that you do so. Maybe for some of you, this is talking about a period after this social isolation ends up, because what I see here is that what you lost was the ability to do things in the outside world, to have a calendar, to have a schedule, to make it your own, and to make it work with your dreams. So this is a very with the Queen of Wands here in reverse, this is a description that's closely linked to what we're all living in the world right now with this social isolation scenario. But somehow, because you've lost this, it's kind of like you entered a phase of a phase of extreme focus on material and sensual pleasures. Okay, so anything related to money, you might be hoarding a little bit, you might be buying in excess, you might be focusing on lack rather than focusing on abundance, you might be experiencing some fear on living on a day-to-day basis. Okay, and again, for some of you, this could represent a specific situation in your family life. Like, for example, this is only an example, when you're having trouble saying something to your mother, to a maternal figure in your life, because this person is someone you see as intimidating, and it's not allowing you to express your voice, your own opinions. Okay, so the suggestion is just take a breather, and then you will be able to overcome the situation. And we actually have a maternal figure, a mother-like figure here. But what I truly see here is a very general situation that a lot of people are experiencing during this quarantine. Since some of you maybe may reach this video like way after the quarantine, make it fit to your situation. But what I see here is an inability to do what you would like to do. You feel like you're trapped, like you're all tied up. And then because of that, you overcompensate in terms of material goods, sensual pleasures. You might be binging anything. You might be binge eating, binge watching TV, binge whatever you want to binge. You might be hoarding a little bit when it comes to what you're buying, what you're actually having access to. And I see a lack mentality. But this is going to end, because I see a new beginning here for you, which may or not coincide with the end of the social isolation we're living right now. If you're watching this video at any other time, I see a period of, and let me confirm that with an extra card for you. Yeah, I see a period of isolation that is not, it's going to be shorter than what you're considering right now. Okay, so I have again the isolation here, and this period being shorter than what you consider it's going to be right now. This could also mean that for some of you, you actually have the initiative to start speaking your truth and regaining control of your life once you receive a message from a loved one. Okay, but I have more info for you here and more tarot cards. So as compliments, we have the Four Swords in reverse from La Santa Muerte deck. We have the Hermit again. Okay, so this is probably related to this social distancing moment we're living today. Okay, now here the Hermit again twice. Okay, and we have the Seven of Cups. Okay, so yeah, whatever you're dealing with, the lack of control you have in your life is related to some kind of a mind burden. Okay, I see that. Of course, I already told you that that you might be binge eating, that you might be hoarding, things like that. But there's actually a process going on here, because you want to speak your truth, you want to put yourself out there, you want to come across as a person that is actually participating in this moment of everybody else's life. But what you're doing, and this image for the Four of Swords here is very interesting. It's in reverse, but I'm going to show you the full image. What you're actually doing is kind of building the basis. Don't get scared with the coughing. It's building some kind of solid foundation from which you can understand the situation in which you're in. So, and this is reversed. Okay, so what it tells me is that you don't see it, but this breather you're taking right now, not speaking your truth, is actually necessary. You have nothing to worry about. It is okay to take time out to reconsider how you're going to put yourself out there, how you're going to position yourself in the world, considering everything that you've been experiencing. Losing the ability to do everything that you're used to do and to be active is what I'm seeing here, has taken a great toll on you. Okay, so it's it's not a joke. I feel like you're the kind of person that sometimes thinks, oh, I should be, I should be happy, I shouldn't be so down, I shouldn't be so sad, I shouldn't be feeling so overwhelmed by this situation, by losing control. But the fact is, you're not only losing control because you're dealing with emotional upheaval, a huge change in your life. This is actually an external influence that's making it hard for you, or impossible for you, if we're talking about the COVID only, to do what you want to do. It's like your previous life has come to a full halt, okay? And for some of you, this could be directly related to a mother-like figure, okay? So you're taking a time out because you need to reorganize how you see this new world now that you have been prevented from just following up with your regular course of activities, okay? But the feeling of not being able to speak your truth, not being able to put yourself out there as your true self is quite consuming. So the way you're experimenting this reflection phase, okay, is not only by studying what's going on around and what kind of person you want to be, you're also overcompensating when it comes to when it comes to all things material, okay? You're overcompensating when it comes to either or food, money, excessive buying, okay? Because this is making you feel safe. And you don't need to do that, okay? They are not even judging you. They know that it is hard to go through this phase. But they're not actually judging you. What they're saying is that if you want to get to the point in which you are going to find this new version of yourself, able to speak your own truth and to put yourself out there, even if we're still in isolation and this is not out there, but this is like speaking your truth to the person you're thinking about, to this mother-like figure, or maybe online, expressing yourself freely, not afraid of what other people might think. This will depend on seeing or appreciating what you already have. And this card is very beautiful. Okay, now it's in focus. Okay, this will depend. It's not only about appreciating what you already have, but actually knowing what you already have. What I see here is that for most of you who've chosen this pile, you have lots of skills and you have lots of good opinions and things that you have thought about your whole life that the world would actually benefit from if you manage to share them. And if you're thinking about a particular person that that's making it hard for you to speak your truth, okay, then maybe even this person could benefit from your truth and from the things you have inside, okay? These cups here, they represent treasures, okay? Treasures you have that could be soul treasures, like your own spiritual abilities and gifts. This also represents your skills, and this could also represent material things, but not material things that you use to show other people how much you've got, but material things that actually represent something to you, okay? It's about books that taught you everything you know and that you like to reread from time to time. It's about the small gadgets you have around your table. I at least have, because you've had them since you were a kid, and they are not expensive. They're not even expensive, but they're really special to you and they inspire you while you're doing your things. So this card's talking about seeing what you have in terms of skills, in terms of spiritual gifts, but also in terms of real objects. You have a lot to offer. And once you realize that and you really understand what's inside each of these cups, okay, that they are flourishing and then they are beautiful. Once you understand that, you will be able to stop feeling like you need more, especially for this time in which you're feeling all tied up, okay? And you will regain your voice. Okay, so you're feeling this whole situation as an impediment to your progress. It's like you were healing from lots of different patterns before being prevented from doing your everyday activities the way you like them to be done. And then suddenly you can go nowhere, you can do nothing, you feel like restrained. And the fear you have, and this is why you're overcompensating, what you're afraid of is that you felt like you were healing, and then now you have this extra struggle, this extra challenge. But what the cards are actually saying here is that this change is going to make your healing process even faster. Because before this whole process of restraint, you were trying to accomplish your healing process from a perspective of totality. See, you were trying to juggle many different things, and coming to that point in which you think, okay, I'll finally manage it. I'll finally manage to be happy and to juggle all of these different things and to be the best version of myself, right? But what you were not seeing is that you were leaving you were leaving your all of your affectionate relationships behind. Okay, because I have the card for friendship here in reverse. This is the Two of Cups. Okay, so this could represent even romantic partnerships. You were leaving many people and many relationships that were important to you behind, because you were trying to accomplish this whole perfect balance among the many different activities you had in the external world. Okay, and now with this forced break, you're learning how to live moment to moment, okay? Which is very hard for you, because it is a restraint for a person who was going in a 500 miles per hour. But it's important. It is important. You won't be able to speak your truth, to voice your truth, if you're not including your own perspective on things. And what happens is, when we are trying to juggle many different activities at a fast pace and at the same time, of course, we could kind of become addicted to it, and we do not have time to assess whether all of these activities are good for us or not. So by being restrained, you're actually gaining a moment, or getting a break here, to live moment to moment, in order to be able to, with this breather, right, with this time that you're taking to break out, to observe everything that you have, all of your treasures that are actually going to give you insight on what your truth is, what your true path is. Okay, and you shouldn't be scared of that. Shouldn't, maybe, is not the best way to put it, because we are all scared of facing our own inner treasures and how to work with them. But what I'm trying to say is that this is a positive process. Okay, you're thinking like, oh, I was finally healing, I was finally getting somewhere. And what these cards are saying is, no, even if what has restrained you was came from a negative place, even if there was an actual person that restrained your movements, and this is not only talking about the COVID situation, even in this case, it has a positive connotation because you're learning how to live moment to moment. And if you focus on that and more on that and less on binging, hoarding, then you will be able to realize what you have to offer to this world, and you won't feel like you're doubting what you have to say or how to voice your truth or how to position yourself, because you'll be truly, sincerely fascinated by what you're going to find out inside yourself, about yourself, okay? So I hope this message has helped. If you like the video, and if you're new to this channel, do not forget to subscribe. It helps the channel much more than you can imagine. And do not forget to leave a like and share with your friends if you feel this message may apply to other people. Okay? Thank you very much. And now I'm moving on to the reading for those who chose pile number 2. Thank you. Hello, pile number 2. So if you've chosen this beautiful red jasper here, I'm going to leave it here. So let's see what I've got for you from the tarot. And the oracle cards are going to give me a general orientation on the situation, and the tarot cards are going to start giving me a narrative on the loss you're talking about. So right from the start, I can see that you are talking about family-related loss, okay? And this could be directly or indirectly related, make it fit your situation. But this card says white eagle, ancestor spirit, connect to your lineage. A family wound or pattern can be healed now, okay? So when I talk about loss that is related to your family, directly or indirectly, I'm talking about the loss of a member of your family, okay? Either physical or a loss in the relationship is not working the way it used to work anymore. But I'm also talking about losses that reminds us of specific patterns we have that come from our upbringing and that now have an opportunity to be healed, okay? So it's like, of course, if you have this friend in your life that works as some kind of father figure for you, if you lose this friend either physically through death or emotionally because your relationship is not working anymore, then you're going to experience grief. But this grief is not only related to this friend. This grief may also trigger many other different aspects of previous losses that you've experienced in your family, okay, and that have not been properly dealt with. This is the kind of loss I am talking about. The grief you're experiencing is directly related to a family issue, okay? And we also have from the oracle cards this don't let pride get in your way. Okay, it's focused right now. Full moon in Leo, okay? So I see that this issue is related to how you see yourself, and for some reason it was very important for you, and this is related to the story I'm seeing here, but we'll get to that. For some reason it's very important for you to keep a certain narrative line about your family and about how you see yourself when it comes to relationships in your family, because it was a matter of survival, okay? When you were younger. I'm going to show you this card again. Don't let pride get in your way. Sometimes it is important for us to keep this persona, the persona we defended when we were with our parents, great-grandparents, great-parents, when we were with our relatives in general. It was a matter of survival. But what is showing here now is that maybe this pride you have of being the person you've built up in order to deal with your family issues, maybe it's getting in your way when it comes to forgiveness. And remember that forgiveness is not only about forgiving the other person, but mainly and mostly forgiving yourself, okay? We also have another card, and I think you're the only group who has two cards for that says emotions are running high. Supermoon. So of course, since this is a family issue, and some of you could be dealing with the loss of a person in your family, there are a lot of emotions to process right now, and it's okay. First and foremost, it is okay. Take your time. Take the time you need to deal with that, okay? This card here on Pride, I said there was a narrative going on about that, and the narrative goes, the loss you're dealing with is related to emotional stability, okay? I want to get the other tarot cards just to, yeah. This loss is bringing about an issue related to how safe you feel in a certain narrative of your life. So when I talk about pride here, I am not judging, and I'm not saying that you're a bad person. I don't believe in that in the polarized way people talk about bad and good people. We all have shadow and light inside ourselves. I think you know that, and you know better. But what I'm talking about is you're attached to a narrative of your childhood that has produced the person you are right now, the ego persona that you mostly use for your everyday activities, okay? And you're proud of this persona, and you should be, because it was a beautiful construction that you're trying to balance right now, because it has become harder and harder for you to not to see what you're missing, because you are insisting on being this person and only this person. But why is it that you've built this person in the first place? Because in order to get the emotional sustenance you needed when you were younger, you needed to be this person. You needed to use this persona, okay? So what we're talking about here is like a growing up process. And please, if you feel like you're older and you're not growing up and this kind of strange, not necessarily, because we are always growing up. You could be 70, you could be 90, you could be 25, you could be 40, and you always be growing up. And from time to time, there is like this tower-like moment or death moment in your case, which is even like, I'm going to become this different version of myself, completely different version of myself. From time to time, we have these moments, and they are normal and they're healthy. But what you're facing right now with the loss of this person or people, right, is that it's kind of like seeing this person go, whether it's a direct member of your family or a friend that reminds you of a person in your family, or that you had a relationship that was very similar in terms of pattern with the relationships you had developed in your family. Seeing this person go has triggered how important it is for you to keep this persona up, because it's like a reminder that you've only come this far because you kept this armor-like personality, okay? And I'm not even saying that this personality is bad. Please do not take it like that. What I'm saying is that even before you lost this relationship, It doesn't matter the level of loss we're talking about, but even before this person was out of your life, you knew that you had to be more flexible and maybe build different personas. What we call ourselves from an early age is not who we are, definitely. Not only because this persona changes and adds a little bit or more flexibility here, artistic talents there, or maybe it's the other way around, a little bit more of, I don't know, organizational skills when you had none, or it could be artistic and organizational, but you had no inkling whatsoever when it came to mathematics, and then this is what you're going to work on. But not only in terms of practical stuff, you're also constantly adding new perspectives on how the world works and how should it work for you, etc. So this is a normal process, and you could even develop many different personas, more superficial personas, because you know that what's adequate in a situation is not adequate in another situation, while keeping your core manifestation as a human being in the world. Okay, these are all possibilities and these are all normal, but it seems like you already knew that, and you were trying to balance. You're trying to think, okay, what is it that's profitable, that's good from the person I've learned how to be when I was a child? Okay, what am I going to take advantage of and what am I going to simply toss? Okay, you were trying to achieve a balance, but then you lost this person. Okay, loss in itself is already a very difficult process, but then it's kind of like you're feeling a double loss, because this person was one of the people that served as a reminder that you really needed this personality, that you really needed to see the world like that. This is double loss, okay? You're losing the person, and you're also losing a pillar that used to point out to the version of yourself that you already knew was not going to needed to be flexibilized, at least. Okay, what you're trying to do now is you're trying to organize your mind and to be very objective and very concrete about how things will go, what you believe, what you don't believe, what you're going to do. But you're trying to organize everything mentally, because of course dealing with this kind of grief is overwhelming. But this is not an issue that's just going to be solved in your mind. Yeah, this person has probably witnessed you being this version of yourself a lot of times, or trying to defend that things need to be one way and not the other. And this person would confirm, would always say, okay, go for it. Yeah, this is the right way of living a life. I like you because you are like that. This is the right way of facing problems. Go for it. That's why I like you. Always reaffirming, reassuring, validating the kind of person you were. Even before you lost this relationship, you already knew that you had to make some changes on this persona. But now that you've lost it, it's kind of interesting, because we could think okay, now that you lose one of the people who would root for you to keep on being the person you were, it's easier for you to move on and to become someone else, to explore your other possibilities. But it's actually kind of harder. It's harder because it deals with loyalty issues. Okay, just moving the camera a little bit to see if the focus finds itself, because it was in and out of focus. Okay, because it deals with issues of loyalty. Now that you've lost this person and you have to mourn this relationship, it's harder for you to find your new self, because your first attempt is to just be faithful to what you had together. You don't want to lose it, okay? And you're leaving a phase of glacial isolation, you see? It's like it's all ice, and the only thing melting this ice are discolored golden tears. You see? It's a very beautiful card. So what they're talking about here is you really need to cry. You really need to experience this grief, but you also needed to understand the whole process behind this loss. Like, yes, you are losing part of yourself when you lose this person, not only because this person was a part of your life, in the sense of I won't have this person here to talk to me, or we're not going to do the same things together, but also because this person was a huge part of validating your personality, validating yourself in the world. But you need to remember that no matter if this is a real family member or if it's a friend that reminds you of a family member, this is all triggering a situation from your past, a situation in your family, in which, in order to get the emotional stability and the emotional nourishment you needed to survive, maybe even as a child, you had to develop a persona. And now what's dying in this situation is this persona. You're becoming more flexible. You want to do other things in life. It's the kind of situation in which someone says, but you're not like that. And then you want to say, why am I not like that? I am like that. I want to be like that. And this process of changing, because you see other benefits that you could get, you simply want to be another person. This process was already going on even before you lost your friend, your family member, you lost this person. But since this person was a huge part of validating your old persona, then this is a double grieving process. And you need time to deal with all of these emotions, but mostly what you need is to actually experience these emotions without getting pride get in your way. Okay? Why? Because this is not the moment to focus on what a wonderful person I was and how wonderful it was for me to do all of those things, unless you want to take it from a gratitude perspective, unless you want to face it like, okay, it was wonderful for me to have this persona, even if I only developed it because I wanted to guarantee my affection when I was a child. This is wonderful because I got a lot of different things. Now I'm grateful. Let's move on. This is not the time to get attached to a certain kind of pride that's going to make you inflexible, that's going to make you immutable, okay? And once you realize that this loss you're experiencing is also a loss you're experiencing of an older version of yourself, of a version of yourself that's no longer working, the grieving process for this person, this relationship will also run smoother, the way it's supposed to go, in which you're going to cry, you're going to revisit the good moments, you're going to deny, you're going to go angry, you're going to go at the process the way it's supposed to be, and it's going to take how long it's supposed to take, but it's a different kind of process. These two grieving processes, they are mixed together right now, and it's hard to differentiate one from another. Okay, so I really hope this message has helped, at least to understand the problem you're facing right now, the kind of loss you're dealing with right now. And this was super specific, so if you've heard it and it didn't resonate, then it's not for you. Select another pile, or or select even another video dealing with the loss, with this theme of loss, okay? But the key here, for those of you who heard this and felt that it actually resonated, the key here is to feel your feelings, okay? Now that you understand the scope in which you're immersed, it doesn't matter if you're feeling sad or if you're feeling lonely, if you're feeling, it doesn't matter. Just take time to process all of these emotions and forget about pride. This is not a moment to be proud and to try to keep any kind of integration of yourself or for yourself, because you're actually changing. When you think you're changing, this is not a bad thing, and no, you're not crazy. This is what's actually happening, these two grieving processes together. Okay, so I hope this was useful. If you enjoyed this video and if it has helped you, please do not forget to share a like and to follow the channel, please. This helps us a lot. And now I'm moving on to the reading for pile number 3. Okay, so if you've chosen pile number 3, you've chosen this pyrite crystal here. Pyrite's a very interesting crystal because a lot of people associate it to riches and to abundance, but not necessarily. It has many other different healing properties. Okay, moving the camera a little bit. I have oracle cards here today, and they are going to give me some brief insight on your situation. And then I have the tarot cards, 2 different decks of tarot cards. For you, I have these 2 cards and then these 2 cards, and for one reason or the other, I'm feeling like putting them all here and just showing them all to you, so I hope you can see them properly. Oracle cards, contextualization of the moment, the kind of loss we're dealing with. If you skip the introduction, it's also important to tell you that we're talking about many different kinds of loss, okay? So not only physical loss, but also any kind of emotional loss. This could be a relationship that broke up. This could be related to your current COVID social isolation period. If you're watching this video at the moment it's being recorded and posted, okay? But this could be any kind of emotional, psychic loss. So let's see what the cards have for you here. So the first oracle card tells me that this is a loss on communication, okay? Open communication, get a weight off your chest. Speak up with love and be heard, okay? So I see here that you feel like it's hard to open communication with someone. And this is similar to option number 1, but in a completely different place, okay? Because option number 1 was feeling like I can't talk about certain issues, certain issues are polemic or tricky. In your case, what I see here is not a situation of I cannot be myself. It's like you have this emotional burden, you have this message, you have something you want to communicate, something that is a weight of that you need to take off your chest, okay? But it's hard for some reason, okay? So your process in loss is related to that. And then we have full moon in Taurus. I hope you're seeing it properly. Your dreams need a practical plan. Okay, so what I have from these oracle cards is you need to tell something to someone or maybe to a group of people, okay? But there was a tower-like moment, and this could be referring, if you're watching this video during the social isolation period, this could be referring to the COVID outburst, okay? But this could also be referring to something very specific, particular in your life that prevented you from communicating exactly what you wanted to communicate. This has been, since then, weighing down your chest, okay? It's like I can actually feel this pressure on my chest, like there's something sitting here. There's something sitting here that needs to get out. And it's not a negative thing. I don't see it as a secret, or it's something, it could be hard for some people to hear it, but I don't see it as a secret or something shameful. It's just something that maybe even people needed to hear. I'm seeing, but this could be a project, this could be something you want to write about. So if you're thinking about writing a book, if you're thinking about starting making your own videos, your own lives, if you're thinking about any kind of communication, is very positive at this moment. But what I see here is you had this idea about communicating something that was precious and that you suppose would be precious to the other person or people involved, to your audience, no matter who the audience is, okay? And then something happened that was quite out of the blue and unexpected, and now you feel unable to do that. You're unable to do that because you, and I will need to clarify that just a moment. But it seems like you've received a message to keep this to yourself for a moment, for a while. And then let's clarify that. Yeah, you feel like you cannot, let's see what the tarot is going to say afterwards, but you feel like you cannot share whatever you need to communicate right now because you're trying to go with the flow. You've received a message like, stay quiet, like try not to push it, because your message is not related to what people are commenting or talking about right now. Try to concede, try to go with the flow. You see this person here just like going with the flow. Try to concede a bit, even if it's not to your liking, because you won't be able to experiment as much as you would like with this kind of communication if you did it right now, okay? So the message I have here, there are many different people watching, and this is the general reading, but what I see here is a situation like a project. And then because the world is not into this kind of project right now, it would be like shooting your own foot to launch this project right now. And this is what you're grieving. This is why you're feeling this sense of loss, okay? You know that if you did anything right now, it is not going to be as well received, or at least you won't have a way to judge if it's even succeeding or not, because it's like the world or the context you're in or the situation you're experiencing, whatever the environment you're dealing with is not ready. Something happened, something shifted the energy. It was such a good idea, it was such a good communication, now it's only sitting on your heart because it's like not the moment. You're going with the flow, you're conceding in terms of calendar and everything, because it's not the moment. It's not the moment for that. And because of that, you are in an attitude of only, you're an observer, okay? And even if you don't like the situation, even if it's uncomfortable for you to be stopping your projects or having different priorities right now, it's not even that you have a different priority, it's just that the world's priorities or your environment's priorities have radically shifted. So there's nothing you feel like you can do. And you're taking this time to observe the world around you and try to have a different perspective on it, okay? And take a look at this image here. This is the Page of Swords, okay? And it was in reverse. This image is very interesting because I have this deck, La Santa Muerte, It's all composed of skeletons, okay? And I like it very much. This man here is writing, okay? So communicating, okay? But the Page of Swords represents a message, a strike of inspiration, an insight, okay? And it's here in reverse. So it's like you're observing the situation, you're waiting until the moment you find like you have this insight of doing this thing again, you feel like the moment is right again, you can actually start communicating whatever it is that you felt like communicating in the first place before this whole situation occurred in your life. And this situation is not your fault, is not something that you can control, okay? It looks a lot like the COVID situation we're living right now. So for most of you watching this video during this time, it probably is. You had a project, you had to stop it, okay? Just bear in mind that when I talk about project, this could be planning a wedding, this could be anything like that, but this could also be a work project, and it's related to communicating, okay? But I will actually need to have some extra cards here to explain whether I want to hear from the tarot whether this is you're right, you're wrong, things are going to shift, you should be doing whatever you want to do anyway. Okay. Yeah. No, you're not wrong. You're right. I'm sorry I don't have better news because I feel like you were really excited to start communicating whatever it is that you want to communicate right now. Like you wanted to come to this reading and say, oh, I'm feeling this huge loss because I can't do my project, I can't communicate what I want, and please just tell me that I'm wrong, just tell me that I can actually go forward with my project no matter what's happening in the world or all around me, and no matter what's happening, please tell me that I can do it. And actually, you're not wrong. This project is very important for you. It will represent a large part of your material stability, maybe for some of you, even your income. This is going to be something you're going to be proud of. This is very important in your life. And right now, there are too many conflicting thoughts. It's not only that the world is not prepared to receive your communication, it's also that due to what's happened, that was not your fault and that is out of your control, your mind is also not as clear focused as it was. It's not as sharp as it was when you were thinking about launching this project. So remember that what happens in the world also has an impact on you. So even if you decided to push and go on with this idea and this strategy and launch whatever you want to launch, this would not be the better version of yourself, okay? And I don't see people being receptive to your communication, whatever it is, right now, okay? It would be really like losing an opportunity of making it later and making it better. Not only because people would be in tune with your proposal, but also because you yourself would be in tune with your proposal. Because I see here like you're this warrior, and this is a very nice quality in the sense of you're always inspiring people to get a better version of themselves and to think that the situation is never too bad, or that the situation could always improve, and that, and that lifting your spirits is the best thing that you can do for yourself. You're always like, you're always this fiery person who's going to take people out of the dumps, okay? But in this case, it is important for you to remind yourself that what happens in the world also has consequences to you. Even if you present this facade of a person that cannot be affected by the world in general, you actually know this is not true. You're only human, and this situation has also taken a toll on you. whatever this tower moment was like. If you're watching this during the COVID crisis, it's probably related to the COVID crisis. But we know that this video is timeless, and maybe you're watching at a completely different time. What I can see here is that there was actually a tower moment. There was actually a moment in which things shifted completely. Now people, or the person that you're meaning this message to, this communication to, you could clearly see this person was no longer in the mood, and you could clearly see that the world was no longer in the mood. It was no longer the right timing, and you could see this, and you had to stop, and now you're feeling this grief, like, oh my God, I lost the chance to do the project the way I wanted, the way I I wanted, and I liked it. And I know it's big, but don't blame it all on other people, okay? You are also not in your optimal version right now. So take some time to organize your practical plan more. Your thoughts are also a bit unbalanced, okay? When they talk about your dreams needing a practical plan here, considering the whole scenario, it's like, consider that your dreams are meant to be performed in the real world. So if you do not consider what's going on in the real world, then they are actually never able to materialize, okay? You need to listen more. You need to be more holistically in touch with the vibes all around you, okay? So I hope this message has helped, and if you liked this video, please do not forget to leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel so that you can receive other videos like this one, okay? Thank you very much, and bye-bye.